So when I started diving deep into self-improvement, I was in this rut. I was seriously overweight. I was riddled with bad habits. I was just having issues left and right. I was full of anxiety, borderline depressed. I was having all of these issues. And I started getting into self-improvement, right? And like most people that dive into self-improvement, it's almost like you have a phase in your life where you regress before you make any sort of progress whatsoever. So you take a massive step back. And then if you're like me, or you're like a lot of people, you start asking yourself, yo man, I didn't even know any of these things existed a few months ago. Why do I feel like shit now that I do know that they exist? Why do I feel like things are getting worse when I'm doing all of these things that are supposed to benefit my life, right? A common thing that you'll see is like people will start saying like self-development ruined my life or is ruining my life. And that's not the case whatsoever. I want to make this video so that you guys can realize, whoever's watching this, self-development is one of the best things that you could possibly do. But a lot of people make massive mistakes when they start going into self-development and they don't realize it. And that's the exact reason why you think that things are getting worse, right? It's not getting worse. You're just becoming more self-aware. And that's one of the big key factors is your self-awareness. Once you start going into self-improvement, or actually, let me back up. Before you go into self-improvement, you're ignorant to the fact that there's a lot of shit that you're not doing. And you're good. You're just going through life. You're going through the motions. You're having a good time. You're pleasure chasing, pretty much. You're doing shit that feels good. You're doing shit that brings you that instant gratification, and you're good, right? You're happy. But once you start diving into the world of self-development, you can no longer be ignorant to the fact that there's a lot of other shit out there that you're not doing. So essentially, you have all of the potential. Essentially, you're sitting at a table. You're sitting at this desk, right? And before self-improvement, before self-development, this desk is empty. But once you open that gate, you open the floodgates, this desk is full of all of your potential. All of the things that you should be doing. All of the things that will progress you in life. They're all on the table now. There's no longer closing your eyes and hoping for the best. You can't do that anymore. But because of this self-awareness, you get more woke, specifically in the area where you're not living up to that potential. And because now you are self-aware, you cannot shut that valve off. You've already opened it. Your mind now knows, as you're coasting through life or as you're going through the motions of your day and doing the same shit you've been doing for the last 5-10 years, your mind's not going to let you forget, hey, there's a lot of shit you ain't doing that you should be fucking doing. So with this newfound information, most people do 3 things. 1, they do nothing about it. They try to pretend it's not there. They try to just go about their life and just try to ignore it. 2, they don't stick to it. They know the shit they should be doing. They tell themselves all of these new habits, all of these new routines, all of these new things that they want to do, but they don't stick to it. And then 3, they try to rationalize with themselves why they don't need it until they convince themselves. And then essentially, instead of being your normal self, you're just your normal self with maybe a little bit of improvement, right? They try to convince themselves not to do all of these other more difficult things that they should be doing. A lot of people talk about mental toughness. A lot of people talk about improving your mindset and all of these things. But one fatal flaw that a lot of people make, or they don't realize, is that we all have a compass that's going to be guiding us through life, which is our conscience. Your conscience, you need to be in congruence with your conscience. You need to be in alignment, right? And I wasn't in alignment for the longest time, guys. I gave up a channel that had over 13,000 subscribers, Instagram page that had over 2,000 followers, because I was so out of alignment with what I was doing. And most people, your conscience is just yelling at you at all times. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? And your conscience is just constantly trying to hook you up with the information that you need, with the direction that you need to go, but most people try to ignore it. They try to ignore it and ignore it until it builds up into anxiety, depression, and all of these other issues. But it's because they're not aligned with what they're supposed to be doing. Once you know this information, once you know that self-development is real, once you know that you should be working on your body, you should be watching what you eat, you should be fixing your habits, you should be dropping your vices, and you choose not to, it makes that voice in your head a whole lot stronger. And if you don't listen to it, it makes your issues a whole lot worse. So it's not that self-development is ruining anybody's lives. It's the fact that you're self-aware and you're not sticking to what you said you were going to do. You're not sticking to the things that you know for a fact will improve your life. And I'm not talking about the cold showers or the red light therapy or all this dorky shit that everybody talks about. I'm talking about the real self-improvement. You got to get your body in order. You got to get your nutrition right. You got to fix your fucking vices and your bad habits. That is where 99% of self-improvement happens. That is where 99% of your level up will be. Getting your body right, getting your mind right, and fixing your terrible habits and dropping your vices that are obviously holding you back. Like you don't need to be looking up on YouTube or reading blogs or anything like that or asking a bunch of people. You know which vices, which habits you have that are obviously holding you back, and you got to drop that shit. But my point with this video, if you have any inclination of improving your life or going down this self-development process, it's the best thing that you could possibly do if you follow through. If you follow through, if you listen to your conscience, if you just stick to the plan, stick to your word, stick to the things that you tell yourself you're going to do. And if you don't do that, then that's when shit gets ugly. That's when shit gets worse. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in that next one.